Of South Africa return to Gauteng for the Gestetner Showdown event. It's rounds 11 and 12 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series, and Graham Duxbury could be one of the closest races we've seen this year.
Yeah, I think it's less than a second separating the first 9 cars in the first race and 10 or 11 cars in the second race. Absolutely fantastic, particularly we've got BMW on pole for the first race.
It's nice to see the BMWs back there again. This seems to be their favourite circuit.
It does indeed. They do a lot of testing here. The circuit obviously suits their cars, but I tell you what, the team has also done a fantastic amount of work.
Janelle de Villiers 50 points ahead. Do you think anybody's going to catch him?
No.
And with Duncan Foss the closest man to de Villiers, the Nissan Primeras really have stamped their authority on the first half of the Bankfin Touring Car Series. But Sassel BMW are on their way back, and a pensive BMW team manager, Jürgen Gnam, makes his final checks while driver Sean van der Linde is happy with pole position.
We are very fortunate, and I think we really worked hard for this opportunity to be on the front row, and believe it, we're really gonna take full advantage of it and give it our best shot. You know, I'm very fortunate that I can have Michael next to me on the front row. So I mean, maybe he can help me in getting a gap in the opening laps, because the Nissans, they're going to be very strong, believe it or not, and like they always are. So you know, we're going to have to go flat out from the word go and just make the best of it.
While Father Roger has time to finish his coffee, Krugersdorp youngster Anthony Taylor contemplates his fourth on the grid in the Engine Audi.
Well, I have to really thank the team for the hard work that they've put in since the last race. They've built a brand new car for me in the last 5 weeks, and I think it's paying off. We've been very competitive all weekend, and we got a good position on the grid for both the first and the second race. This morning in warm-up we went very well. And I think, you know, it's a combination of everything. Engine have blended us a fuel now. We've got new Petronas Synthium oil. So I think it's all working as a package.
Lovely winter's day here at AA Kyalami as the cars for round 11 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series slowly round Gestetner Bend. They form the grid, and I've been joined today by Marco dos Santos. Marco, is this the most nerving time of the event?
Yes, Jonathan, you know, basically you're adjusting for positions now, getting ready, watching the light, making sure you're in the right gear, so you can have a good acceleration off the line.
And as the green light goes, the race is underway. It's the two BMWs of Sean van der Linde and Mike Briggs into the first right-handed bend. They're followed behind by Janelle de Villiers, Sean Watson-Smith in 5th position. In car with Sean van der Linde, his teammate in the new BMW 320i. With new power steering, Marco, do you have that in your car?
Yes, Jonathan, basically I think most of the cars in the touring cars have got power steering. They're basically almost impossible to drive without it. I don't think we'd be able to last 10 laps, or you'd have to be a very strong driver really to maintain without power steering.
In car with Anthony Taylor, 4th on the grid, 4th position at the moment. Anthony's qualified well during the year, hasn't had the results though.
Yes, Anthony's always been up there. I think he's always been in the 2nd and 3rd row throughout the year. But he's had a little bit of bad luck, you know, second race of the season at Kyalami. I think he was 3rd and I was 4th on the grid. And there was a bit of an altercation with Michael Briggs where both of us went out. But normally Anthony's all the way up there and he's a very consistent driver.
Well, he's behind championship leader Janelle de Villiers at the moment, as for the first time the cars come to Westbank. Van der Linde, Briggs, de Villiers. There's Sean Watson-Smith having a good run in the Open.
Obviously the 6-week break that they've had development-wise has worked. I think they've almost improved the second since the last race, Jonathan, and it's good to see them up front with the front runners for this race.
Passes part of the circuit down the mine shaft to brake hard into the right-handed Vodacom, and it's still the two BMWs out in front. They're followed by Janelle de Villiers, Anthony Taylor's Engine Audi, and then the blue and yellow Petronas Opel of Sean Watson-Smith. Through the chicane. What's it like going through that chicane?
Jonathan, at the moment, you know, it's a very difficult corner. You try and take it a little bit too fast, you go completely offline, you bug it ready for the second part of it. The trick is really to take the first one as tight as possible to get a very good exit speed through the second one.
End of lap 1, we're in car with Duncan Foss in the second of the BP Nissan Primeras. He's chasing Sean Watson-Smith in the Opel. Anthony Taylor slides it out a little bit. There you are. How are you enjoying the race so far?
It's a very hard race, Jonathan. It was very hot at that time. But we basically, I know people sort of see on TV now that we're all basically following each other. There's no overtaking taking place. But what you're really trying to do is just sort of suss out the driver in front of you and see what he's doing, try to find where he's slow, and sort of organise a passing that will become maybe the next lap or the lap after.
Back to Clubhouse for the second time. The two Sassel BMWs. Here's Terry Moss having a go at Duncan Voss on the inside. It looks like he's got through there.
That's a typical Terry Moss manoeuvre. He's very aggressive, and it's actually it's a nice guy to race against, but you never know where he is and how hard he's going to touch
Well,
you.
Duncan's not letting him through because he's come back again. So Duncan Voss in 6th position as they come up once again to West Bank. This is a tight corner. It's a difficult corner, isn't it?
Jonathan, it's basically a double apex corner. You can't turn in too early because you find yourself drifting out wide. It's a very good overtaking corner into it, but basically if you go too fast into it, you're pretty slow down to the mine shaft, and they can get you again down at the bowl.
And we're back at the bowl with Anthony Taylor having a look on the left-hand side of championship leader Janelle de Villiers. Not going to get through there this time, Anthony. And it's chasing de Villiers along to the Yokohama Kink. Sean Watson-Smith, he's having a... Yes, he's going to go through. Oh, God.
That's a do-or-die manoeuvre. I don't think Sean actually got enough alongside Anthony. I think Anthony was definitely not to blame there.
Well, we can see in the background, and there's a lot of bumping and boring going on there. Sean Watson-Smith on the left-hand side. He's knocked Duncan Voss out of the way. Terry Moss goes through on the inside. You go through farming on the outside. What happened there?
I don't know. I think Sean was still thinking what he did in the kink, the Yokohama Kink, and I don't think he braked enough, and Duncan felt the consequences of that. I basically got stuck between the three of them as well. They had nowhere to go. Had to go around the sand. I think Sean's going to be kicking himself the next day.
Well, let's go back and have a look there. Take us through this, Michael.
Basically, Sean, I think, just committed himself there too much. Obviously damaged his car.
Coming up to the Gestetner corner.
It basically looks like he had no turning, or he couldn't brake for some.
It looks like he drove straight into the side of Duncan.
There must have been some damage done from the previous corner before.
You go off on the right-hand side, do a bit of farming. Sean's left, coming into the pits.
As I said, Jonathan, he's coming in there. Obviously something wrong with the car. Something in the suspension must have broken. I think that's what happened between him and Duncan. He must have had no turning and hit Duncan really.
Well, unlucky for Sean Watson-Smith. We move on to lap 6. Still the two Sassel BMWs out in front. They're followed by Janelle de Villiers and Anthony Taylor.
Jonathan, this is a very hard part of the race now. Halfway through, basically trying to conserve your tyres. And the car at this time now is not really handling that well because of all the hard racing in the beginning of the race.
The BMW still looking pretty good from their perspective. Michael Briggs and Sean van der Linde. Sean having a good season, although the Nissans really, as I said in the pre-race interview, stamped their authority on the touring car series this year.
Yes, I think there's a bit of a change now. It looks this is very good for the series. You know, BMW look really in command now. And now and again, Sean van der Linde just pulls something out the bag, and as you see now, he's commanding the race now, and he's driving like a star, really.
Well, Dion Joubert enjoying himself in the Petronas Opel as Sean van der Linde comes into the right-hander at Vodacom. Well, a good crowd here at Kyalami, isn't it?
Excellent, Jonathan. I think it's the best crowd we've had in a while, actually. And, you know, a crowd at a racetrack really brings out the best in the racing drivers. It's not nice to race at a track where it's empty. But the last couple of races, the crowds have been excellent at all the races. Port Elizabeth the race before, and now Kyalami.
Into lap 6, into Gestetner, and the crowd certainly enjoying the two BMWs out in front. And Terry Moss coming up on Anthony Taylor, and Dion Joubert having a look at Moss.
Yes, I think that you'll see Dion Joubert soon making a move on Terry Moss. Very hard driver to pass. You could be sort of chasing him for 8-9 laps and not being able to pass him. He's a very good competitive driver, but good driver to race against.
Is this a flat-out part of the circuit?
Basically, Jonathan, into the first part of it is flat out, but you have to tap off a bit and sort of steady your car and get back on the car really early to try to get the drive through to the old pit corners in Nashua.
We're on to lap 9. It's still the BMW's positions not changed for 3 laps, and a midfield battle continues. Chris Aberdeen having a look. Duncan Voss on the inside. Is Duncan going through there? Yes, he is. He's got Mark Peters, his teammate, right behind him, and you go right on the inside and battle it down the straight with Peters.
That's the case really of you know, fighting with your competitor in front of you and not looking behind you. I basically gained 2 positions there because of Chris and Duncan's fighting through the chicane.
So they were worried about fighting themselves, didn't even see you there?
I think me and Mark were, you know, we're very lucky there, but that's racing basically. You're trying to hold off the guy behind you, and if you don't look out, the 2 competitors behind that will basically take advantage and pass you as well.
Englishman Mark Peters, who flies in on the Wednesday before the race and flies out almost after the race back to the UK. And you seem to have got away from them there.
Well, basically now I think Chris Aberdeen and Mark Peters now are going to be fighting. I think Chris is holding up Mark really. Mark's car seems to be behaving a little bit better at this stage of the race. And as long as Chris blocks Mark, I think me and Duncan are going to pull away.
We're on to the last lap, and it's still Sean van der Linde. Last time he won a Touring Car Series race was at Kyalami, going past one of the pro cars there. We're in car with Michael Briggs, second position. The man from Port Elizabeth is just holding the fort behind his teammate.
I think at this stage, I don't think he's got any more. His car doesn't have any more really to catch Sean. I think he's settled for second place. I think he's happy. It's great for BMW, and I don't think he's going to try anything stupid to try to catch Sean.
Through the Yokohama kink, the left-handed Gestetner, there's Janil de Villiers in third position, but it is the BMWs of Sean van der Linde and Michael Briggs who take a 1-2 in round 11 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series.
Great result for BMW, something they haven't done since the first round of Kyalami.
They will be happy. The team based at Kyalami take the 1-2. Janil de Villiers, championship leader in his Primera in third. Anthony Taylor started fourth and finished fourth in his Engen Audi. One Marco De Santos in seventh. Sean, from start to finish, lovely race. You enjoy that?
I forgot how this feels. I must say, Michael chased me all the way. It made life a bit difficult for me in the beginning, but I managed to slip away towards the end. But I mean, BMW won too. I mean, we couldn't have asked for more than this. Glad for the team that really put a big effort into get this result today, and I'm really happy for the team.
Sassel BMW likes Kyalami.
Yeah, it seems like, and last time we were out here, we had a bit of bad luck pushing and accidents, but we've always been on the pace, and I think we are the pace now at the moment.
As Michael Briggs and Sean van der Linde, it's sprayed by Janil de Villiers. Back at AA Kyalami for round 12 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series, and its championship leader, Janil de Villiers, on pole position. The new car of Anthony Taylor taking him to second position, followed by Sean Watson-Smith. And you'll see there that the top 9 cars covered by just on a second. It's going to be a race of strategy.
The strategy is a little more tricky than I would have liked. I would like to have been on pole and been able to dictate the pace on my own. Now the strategy is more up to the other guys. First of all, I have to try and stay with them and then see who's going to be quicker. Everybody's doing more or less the same time, so it's going to boil down to who's the quickest in the race, whose car is working the best at that time.
Janil de Villiers leads the rest of the field slowly around Gestetner. Once again, the nerves building up, Marco.
Jonathan, the adjusting of positions again, you can see everyone moving from left to right again, sort of looking for the best positioning, sort of trying to strategize where they're going to go for that first corner to be safe and not to be hit off.
And the green light goes for round 12 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series. Coming towards us on the right-hand side, Janil de Villiers just sneaks in front of Anthony Taylor. In third position, Sean Watson-Smith, the 2 BMWs who finished first and second in the last race. They're right behind Sean Watson-Smith. In car with championship leader Janil de Villiers looking backwards at Anthony Taylor. That new car of his really is something special, isn't it?
Janil at the moment I think is in a great position, but Anthony is right with him. I think what Anthony really wants is to pull away from Sean, basically then he can sort of fight with Janil. At the moment I think Anthony is trying to ride a protective line so Sean can't pass him, and I think Janil's going to get away by Anthony doing this.
Another slower corners at AA Kyalami. There's Marco De Santos. You had to go down the inside there.
And Chris Aberdeen sort of closing the door on me. Rightly so, I would have done the same thing, but that's what Bankfin Touring Car is all about. Nice and tight.
In car with Sean van der Linde in the Sassel BMW, winner of round 11. Marco, you seem to be a little bit back from where you were earlier in the season. We're used to you being on the podium.
Jonathan, I think it's the case of, I don't think I've gone slow. I think everyone else has just gone a little bit quicker now. I think I can put it down to not enough track time and testing. Our budgets don't allow for us to go testing as much as the works drivers, and I think they've just all caught up to me now, but I'm definitely going to try to do something about it for the next race.
Vodacom for the first time as we head towards the Yokohama kink. Anthony Taylor in second position has a look on the outside. Difficult corner this.
You can see he could have dived on the inside now of Janil, but I think he's basically trying to place himself, just sort of weighing out options and seeing where Janil is slower than he is, and I think he'll be diving in any minute now.
Second BP Nissan of Duncan Foss. chases Janelle de Villiers, who we look at from the back with second place Anthony Taylor.
Anthony's car at this stage looking very good. I think you can see power-wise that Audi is really up to scratch now with the Nissan. Janelle trying, I think, very hard, but not being able to break away from Anthony.
And Anthony likes throwing that car around.
Yes, he does. He's generally a very clean and percentage sort of driver, but you can see he's working very hard this weekend.
We will look back at Duncan Foss in the second BP Nissan from Sean van der Linde's car once again. The right-handed Goodyear. Is this flat out?
Sunset's got a little bit of a break just before you hit sort of your rev limiter in fourth gear, just before you get to Sunset. And then you let sort of feed the power in very, very, very softly, and then before you get out of Sunset, you basically flat again, yes.
Now this is what the crowd have come to see. 6 or 7 cars in a line, flat out together, covering 4 manufacturers.
Excellent race. I think that Bankfin touring cars lately has proved to be a great series. As you can see, the racing is excellent. There's a fight up front, there's a fight in the midfield.
And you're fighting there with Terry Moss and Chris Aberdeen.
Somewhere you don't want to be is amongst 2 Audis, one in front of you, one behind you. I think it's every driver's nightmare.
From the fastest part of the track down the mine shaft, and then the tight right-hander at Vodacom. Lap 3, still Janelle de Villiers, championship leader, followed by Anthony Taylor. Anthony wants to win this race. He needs a win.
Well, Janelle at the moment, I think, is pulling her. I think Anthony's, like I said, driving a protective line at the moment, and he's able, Janelle, to get a little away from him. But
and Sean Watson-Smith having a go. They've touched there. Sean and Anthony just touched a little bit as they did in the first.
Sean being a little naughty there, going over the sand a bit, but nothing wrong. He saw a little bit of a gap. He managed to get his nose in there, and then saw that Anthony closed the door, and rightly so braked.
So it's Janelle de Villiers, Anthony Taylor. There's Duncan Foss, second in the championship, 50 points behind his team leader and teammate Janelle de Villiers. Through the Yokohama kink again, quick right, quick left, and it seems like Watson-Smith's got a problem.
Jonathan, I think that's a case of them touching up at West Bank. I said that the race before, that
his wheels all over the place there.
You can't really touch, you'll get away with it for the first or second time. It's eventually something's going to break, and I think his suspension sort of snapped there. Same scenario as the first heat.
And there is Sean Watson-Smith, a rather disappointing, in fact a very disappointing Kyalami for Sean Watson-Smith, the guy from PE. Move on to lap 7. Janelle de Villiers building up quite a substantial lead now.
I think Anthony is settled for second place at this stage of the race. If nothing goes wrong, I think Janelle's going to have it in the bag. But if the BMs have got anything to do with it, so I think they're going to try as hard as they can and basically try catch Anthony. So the race is not over yet.
Well, we're looking from Duncan Foss's car ahead into Sean van der Linde, and in front of him teammate Michael Briggs. They've swapped round from round 11. Michael Briggs ran second to Sean van der Linde, up once again to West Bank. Looks like van der Linde's going to have a go on the inside.
Well, Michael Briggs just sort of cut his nose off there. I thought he would have let Sean van der Linde through there. Duncan's putting a lot of pressure on him.
Obviously no team orders from BMW. Squeezes Duncan out a little bit.
This corner now coming up the mine shaft, very committing corner. The car's sort of out of sorts. We're doing over 200 k's an hour in a very hard braking corner now into the bowl. Great overtaking opportunity if you get the corner right.
Well, Duncan had a look down the inside of Sean van der Linde. He's now got Dion Joubert looking down the inside of him, now on the outside. Joubert seems to be coming back into the race here.
He must be loving it, fighting it with the leaders again. I don't think Opel's done that in a while, but it's great for the series and great for Opel.
Well, Dion Joubert, a man who's gone over to the States to race stock cars.
Foss has gone a little bit wide there, Jonathan.
Yeah, and Dion is having a go at Duncan Foss. A bit of a bump, wing mirrors together.
I think at this stage of the race, you're going to see a lot of do-or-die manoeuvres. It's coming to the end of the race, and the drivers are going to want to jostle for position.
Well, Dion has certainly jostled his way past Duncan Foss. He's now after the 2 BMWs, as we see them there on lap 9, coming into the Vodacom Bowl once again. There's Taylor in front of them, Sean van der Linde, we see going off to the Yokohama kink, which de Villiers is already through. He's 4 or 5 seconds ahead. Looks like the competitors now settle down into position. Do you actually do that?
Not at this stage, the way that the field is spread out now, you would say so, but I can guarantee you someone's going to try something to try get in a position ahead, or no, I don't think the fun's over yet.
In car with Anthony Taylor and de Villiers That was de Villiers who just went past.
I think he must have an electrical problem. It looks like the car's just gone dead.
Just stopped. Anthony Taylor, for the first time this year, in the lead in the NGen Audis, followed by the 2 BMWs. And Janil de Villiers is out of the race. This is an unbelievable surprise. We've only seen that a couple of times this year.
Anthony must be screaming in the car. He's going to have to compose himself now, and hopefully he can hold it together for the end of the race.
Lap 11 with 1 lap to go into Clubhouse. Anthony Taylor leads round 12 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series. The 2 BMWs dicing it out, and Dion Joubert down the inside. He's got the legs on the BMW.
Now, that was a case of, I don't understand what happened there, you know, between Michael and Sean. I think Michael was leading. You should have let Sean through. It's the case of him holding up Sean now, and Dion's basically benefited from them fighting.
And here comes Duncan Foss on the inside of them as they come up to Westbank on lap 11. Bit of smoke from Dion Joubert. Is Duncan going to have a look around the outside? He certainly is.
You can do it around the outside there, Jonathan, but like you see now, you don't have to drive out of Westbank. But as I said, you can see the racing is just beginning, and it's the last lap. I think everyone's sort of caught up now with the jostling of positions.
Well, Duncan Foss is on the grass there, and where has he gone?
I think
there he is.
Be careful there. Great driving there by Sean van der Linde. I think he saw Duncan coming across the circuit. There's no way you can stop if you go over the sand there.
Well, they both slowed down, letting you and Mark Peters through.
This is what happens, you know, when you start the last lap, you're trying to fight for position, and you basically slow each other down, and I've just gained 2 positions from that.
Well, Michael Briggs with a bumper hanging off his BMW.
And Jonathan, the thing you can see at the moment from that little incident at the bowl, my left rear suspension snapped now, or it's hanging by a thread really, and I'm battling to control the car.
Well, the biggest loser there, Sean van der Linde, comes from about 3rd position, and he had to keep out of the way of Duncan Foss, and he's down in about 7th. But Anthony Taylor, on the final lap of round 12 of the Bankfin Touring Car Series, he must be smiling, he must be edging his car forward.
I think at this stage he's more nervous than anything else.
And in 8th position, Terry Moss loses it. He's in. Is he going to get out of there? It looks, yes he is. The engine Audi pulls away, he loses 1 position. We're back in the bowl. This is for the lead. Anthony Taylor, Dion Joubert right up behind him. Late braking for both of them. Dion,
that wasn't a good move, Jonathan, you know. But I think, you know, at that late stage of the race, he was trying, you know, he wants the race win. But as you can see, the big gap now, he braked way too late on the outside. There's no grip out of there. And I think Anthony's got it.
Well, it was do or die for both of them. Both the manufacturers, Audi and Opel, going for a first win this year. It's Anthony Taylor, who looks like he's going to take his first win in the Bankfin Touring Car Series of 1999, and the first win as well for NGen Audi this year.
Great drive from Anthony Taylor. He kept his head for the last 3 or 4 laps, and it looks like the Audi team is going to be a force to be reckoned with for the rest of the season.
Another delighted man, Dion Joubert in 2nd, Englishman Mark Peters from nowhere on the grid to 3rd, but it's a delighted Anthony Taylor who takes his first win in Bankfin Touring Car Series.
I'll tell you what, when I saw Janil fall out of the race, well, I just had to keep it all together. I nearly started crying. I tell you, the concentration was more than I've ever had to concentrate before.
Can you believe it? 3 different manufacturers on the podium. I don't think we've ever seen this year.
Well, it's different from seeing Nissan 1, 2, 3, and Anthony Taylor enjoys the spoils of a first win in the Bankfin Touring Car Series, but it is Nissan who pick up the team prize by 1 point from BMW.